What's up, guys? It's your boy Ty, and I appreciate you guys coming to check me out on my channel. And today I want to put something on you guys' radar. If it's your first time on my channel, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. It really helps me out. But I want to talk about stock picks. You type in top stocks on YouTube and you go down, you're gonna see everyone has the list of top stock picks, buy these stocks, and it's a never-ending cycle, especially on YouTube, because that's how we actually get you guys to watch what we're doing. Me personally, I just show you guys what I'm investing into most of the time, but a lot of people like to check out stock ideas. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys a video by my boy Lango, and he works with Investors Place, and he just started a YouTube channel, Hyper Growth Investing. And one thing about this video that I'm about to show you guys is that a lot of people have those stock picks. I just showed you guys a bunch of different YouTube channels, and all of them have top stock picks, best stocks for 2022, best stocks for the month. Lango has a special stock pick, and stick through the whole video and you're gonna get around to it. And one thing that he does that's different than anybody I've seen, he guarantees his stock picks. So at the end, of course, he's gonna offer a service, but with that offer, he guarantees at least five, not guaranteed one, but he guarantees at least 5 of his stock picks 100+% within a year. And that's crazy. You hardly see anyone giving a guarantee with anything, but Lango is, and remember, he is a declarated stock picker, a financial advisor. He manages a list of clients. He works for Investors Place, so he is legit. And that's the difference between a lot of YouTubers or information you just see online. A lot of people is just opinions, and most of them we can have a little bit of common sense and guess the stock picks that everyone is saying top picks. The Microsofts, the Apples, the Nvidias, the big name companies that have already blown. So I like to subscribe and use stock picks or maybe stock advice like Lango's, so I can see things that aren't mainstream. So yeah, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, they are all great. They're all great, but we already know that. It's a difference between finding those small companies that are slated to grow into the Microsofts and Apples and just riding the wave that has already started. So that's why I like Lango's subscription and this stock pick. I think you guys should check it out. Again, listen to it all the way through. He's dropping some killer information, and I'm not gonna get any type of kickback if you sign up, because this isn't an affiliate link promotion. It's just I like to tell you guys what I'm doing, and if I see things that look like they have potential to blow, I like to let you guys know. And I think someone giving a guarantee of five stock picks, at least 5 stock picks to grow a 100%. I think that's something you might want to pay attention to. Anytime anybody gives guarantees, they ain't just blowing smoke. Because most people said this isn't financial advice, like I'm about to say right now. Because remember, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, go seek out a financial advisor. All right. So let me know what you guys think about the video. And as I said, you won't be disappointed by, getting a little insight on some of the companies that aren't on people's list because they aren't mainstream. All right. So check it out. Let me know what you think.
Hi, I'm Lango, and I want you to take a close look at this gadget. Sear every single detail in your mind, because the technology inside of it will reinvent trillion-dollar industries across the world. The New York Times says it could be the most important innovation of the 21st century. Forbes says this tech has the potential to usher in the next industrial revolution. Now, industry insiders simply call this breakthrough GCT, and not many people know about this yet. But I guarantee it's only a matter of time before you see it featured on every news outlet. Because experts say up to 2 billion people will be using GCT within the next 4 years. That's 1 out of every 4 people on the planet, which is unprecedented growth, considering it took nearly 35 years to reach 1 billion PC users, 16 years for the cell phone to reach 1 billion users, and 5 years for tablets. But this technology is set to reach up to 2 billion users, literally double the amount of people within the next 4 years alone. And folks who get in on the ground floor could see a chance at historic returns as GCT skyrockets 6,566%. And we're not the only financial experts saying this. The famous technology investor, Cathie Wood, recently told Bloomberg that the next FANG stocks are in the GCT space. Now these are some of the biggest winners of the past 30 years, and we may be the only financial firm in America who urged folks to buy all 5 of them: Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, before they skyrocketed in value. If you had placed a small stake into any of these recommendations and held on, you would be sitting on some of the biggest gains in stock market history. Now, granted, these are some of my firm's greatest predictions. I'll be the first to tell you that nobody can guarantee how stocks will behave in the future. But after months of researching this fast-moving technology, I believe the FANG stocks are nothing compared to what's coming. So for instance, the McKinsey Global Institute said that GCT will have a direct economic impact of up to $4 trillion per year over the next 10 to 20 years. Now think about that for a second. Not $4 trillion over 20 years, $4 trillion every single year for the next 2 decades. That's an $80 trillion multi-decade megatrend, and it's already underway. Now it makes the 10 most valuable companies in the world, including Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Amazon, look like peanuts. Even if you stack up the gross domestic product of the 5 biggest economies in the world, this megatrend still dwarfs them all. And this $80 trillion tsunami will touch nearly every sector of the global economy, including healthcare, food and agriculture, energy, and even manufacturing. TechCrunch summed it up perfectly with this recent headline: GCT will reinvent trillion-dollar industries. Now, I know the scale of all this sounds a little crazy, but I also hope you're paying attention. Because Wall Street's biggest funds are already shifting billions to get in front of GCT's fast-moving growth. Vanguard, one of the largest investment funds in the world, has already invested $11.4 billion in this trend. JP Morgan Chase, $1.3 billion. Morgan Stanley, $2.2 billion. BlackRock, $9.8 billion. Credit Suisse, $1.1 billion. Goldman Sachs, $853 million. And State Street, $4 billion. It's really a mad dash like I've never seen. Now, Forbes even reported on it, saying a new Wall Street gold rush is happening in GCT, and I can't blame them for jumping in with both feet. I mean, these are the biggest funds on Wall Street for a reason. They like making money, folks. And today, you have the chance to get in alongside them. Because one little-known company sits at the dead center of this new tech revolution. This company reminds me of what Microsoft did when the internet went mainstream. Now, that's when my firm urged folks to invest in Microsoft at just 38 cents, giving them a chance at 14,000% gains by the end of the 90s decade. And I believe this company offers similar upside as GCT goes mainstream this decade. But the gains could come even faster, as GCT is set to explode 6,000 566% in just 4 years. Now, I'll be releasing the details on this tiny company in the next few minutes. I'll also show you exactly how this breakthrough technology works and what sectors will see the biggest disruptions as GCT unleashes its $80 trillion tsunami across the globe. But before we get to that, let me tell you why my firm is going public with this story today. Now, my name is Lango, and I'm a senior analyst at one of the largest financial think tanks in the United States, located just outside Washington, D.C. Now, you've probably never heard of me or our firm, but chances are you or someone you know has benefited from our work. For 45 years, our private group has accurately forecasted the world's most innovative technological trends, long before they achieved mainstream acceptance. And we've shown our members how to profit from them all. In the 1980s, we alerted investors to a company making computer chips for the PC revolution. It was called Intel, and shares were only trading for 64 cents at the time. Then we called Cisco when it was trading for only 47 cents. We recommended folks to get in Booking.com at around $27 and microchip maker NVIDIA at $4.39 per share. Now, just a small amount of money invested in any of these tech stocks at the time of our recommendation would have delivered you incredible returns. And that's why our followers pay attention when we release details on how to capitalize on a new technology trend. Because no other firm in America has enlisted a more knowledgeable or more connected group of experts. See, our elite group has included award-winning global economists, presidential confidants, billion-dollar hedge fund managers, and entrepreneurs who launched one of the world's first online businesses. One of our analysts even bought Bitcoin under $1, way before it shot up to $60,000 per coin. But the real reason why we have consistently got in front of the greatest tech megatrends in history, including the GCT revolution I'm sharing with you today, is because our firm understands the way technologies really grow and create immense wealth. You see, most people assume these innovations occur in the blink of an eye, then march right out of labs and facilities and immediately change the world. But that is not how technology revolutions work. If you want to know how to get in on these trends early, before they become the next big thing, you only have to understand this one chart right here. Now, I know that might seem overly simple at first, but the truth is, every breakthrough technology you can think of, the internet, personal computers, smartphones, even the automobile, always follows this predictable growth curve. Now, it has two distinct phases. The first one is the gradual phase. This is when a new technology moves through its initial phase of development. You will typically see expensive prototypes during these early years, but after going through this long refinement process, new technologies become cheap enough for billions of people to adopt them. And at that point it moves into the second phase. I call it the sudden phase. Now, this is totally unlike the one that came before, because this phase marks the point of mainstream adoption, when the technology spreads around the world like wildfire, and early investors can grow incredible wealth in a short amount of time. Now, by using this simple concept, my firm has helped everyday folks get in on the ground floor of some of the biggest technological trends of the past 45 years. Take personal computers, for example. Decades before computers made their way into American homes, they were only found in government research facilities and top-notch universities. Just look at the early computer of the 1950s. It was the size of a small office and cost millions of dollars to make. There was no way these early prototypes could have caught on with billions of people. It was just way too expensive. But after the development of the microchip in the 1970s, computers started to plummet in cost. Now, at that moment, the technology moved from gradual phase to sudden phase. And, of course, you remember what happened next. The personal computer spread across the world at exponential speed. You can see when it hit the sudden phase in this chart, we went from virtually nobody having PCs to everyone having PCs in just a few years. And folks who followed my firm's recommendations at this critical time could have made a killing. We urge folks to invest in companies like Intel when shares were only 64 cents. Now, shares have soared as high as 12,000% since then. We also alerted folks to buy Apple when it was just 37 cents. Those shares have shot up as high as 49,000%. We even recommended buying shares of Microsoft when it was only 38 cents. Now, if you had bought shares and held on, that would be an 83,000% gain today. Now, to put these gains in perspective, investors who put in just $1,000 in that last example would have turned it into $830,000. That, folks, is the power of the sudden phase. Invest in the right companies at this critical point, and generational wealth can be made. Personal computers, they're only one example. The same thing happened with the internet. You might not know that early versions of the internet were in use since the 1960s. It was originally built as a way for government researchers to share information. But as communication protocols, hypertext language markup, and internet browsers came onto the scene, cost started to drop off dramatically. And growth happened quicker than most people saw coming. Just look at the rate of computers connecting to the internet over the years. Now, does this growth pattern look familiar? When the number jumped from 20,000 to 80,000 in the early 1980s, nobody noticed. It was still in the gradual phase. But when it went from 20 million to 80 million, in just a few years, it was front page news. This is what the sudden phase looks like. Again, investors who jumped on our stock recommendations during this time made a killing. We recommended buying shares of Booking.com at only $27. Shares have soared as high as 9,300% since then. We urge folks to buy Netflix when it was $1.37 per share. Now that stock went as high as $690, over a 50,000% gain. And then there's Amazon. We recommended it when it was only $19, and shares have soared over 19,400%. Now that turns just $1,000 into $190,000, and every $5,000 into $975,000. So if you invest in the right companies, when the sudden phase hits, these types of gains are entirely possible. Now again, these are some of my firm's greatest picks, and nobody can guarantee the future performance of the stock market. But all of my firm's biggest calls have been made this exact way. And here's the crazy part. The speed at which new technologies hit the sudden phase is only getting faster. Thanks to the scorching rate of technological progress, increasing computational power, data storage, and internet connectivity, new innovations can spread like wildfire and change the world in an instant. Now just take a look at how fast new technologies are being adopted by the masses. It took 73 years for the telephone to reach full adoption. It took 30 years for the personal computer, 12 years for the internet, just 8 years for the smartphone, and only 6 years for social media. Can you see what's happening here? Breakthrough technologies are blasting through the sudden phase faster than ever before. 1 week, a new tech trend is flying under the radar. The next week, it's everywhere. And stocks are soaring hundreds, even thousands of percent, bringing early investors incredible wealth at the same time. But folks who sit on their hands, even for just a moment, are getting left behind. And that's why my firm was forced to bring this information to the public today, because GCT is hitting the sudden phase right now. It's already projected to grow 6,566% in the next 4 years alone, reaching up to 2 billion people worldwide. That's almost every 1 in 4 people on Earth. And according to the World Economic Forum, this technology's rate of progress resembles, if not surpasses, the speed of computer chip development. It could be the biggest breakthrough in the 5-decade history of our firm. And there is only one company I believe, is the crown jewel of this tech revolution. It's doing for GCT what Microsoft did when the internet hit the sudden phase in the 90s and gave our followers a chance at 14,000% returns. And I'm releasing details about this company in just a moment, but you must be wondering, what is GCT Technology? Well, it all starts with this gadget I showed you earlier. Believe it or not, this little thing can read your DNA and store, display, and analyze it on a computer. It's called a DNA sequencer, and it's one of the most innovative applications of GCT, or genetic coding technologies. You see, each human being's DNA is made up of roughly 3 billion letters in a sequence. Now, it looks like this. Your DNA, of course, determines everything about you: your hair, your height, eye color, skin color, everything. But it's not just you and me, right? Every living thing on Earth has a unique DNA sequence: animals, plants, even viruses. And now, this valuable information is available to us cheaply and easily for the first time. Now, few people understand how massive of a breakthrough this really is. You see, much like the internet and PCs unlocked the information revolution of the 90s, DNA sequencing is unlocking the biological revolution of this decade. Everything from what we eat, how we treat disease, how materials and consumables are manufactured will all be affected by this breakthrough. And that's why DNA represents such an incredible ground floor opportunity. But don't just take my word for it. This is exactly what the McKinsey Global Institute published in a recent groundbreaking study. This report was not shared in the mainstream media, but they had a team of over 30 experts in disruptive technologies across several countries spend over a year researching how disruptive DNA innovation would become. And the results were staggering. They said the potential for beneficial economic and social impact seems enormous. It could have direct impact of up to $4 trillion per year over the next 10 to 20 years. Think about that. $4 trillion per year over the next 20 years. This is the $80 trillion DNA revolution I've been telling you about. And it's all happening because DNA sequencing is hitting the sudden phase right now. Just look at how fast the cost of this technology has plummeted. The first human genome cost nearly $1 billion to sequence. Today, we can do it for as little as $600. And some experts say it can be done for just $100. DNA scientist Raymond Macaulay predicted almost a decade ago that soon DNA sequencing will cost less than the price of flushing a toilet. Now, just to put this in perspective, sequencing your DNA used to cost more than the President's Air Force One airplane, but it could soon cost no more than spare change. Simply put, folks, this price drop is unprecedented. And just like we've seen with new technologies in the past, when they are cheap enough for the masses to adopt, they move into the sudden phase. And it's already happening. Experts project up to 2 billion people will have their DNA sequenced by 2025. That's a 6,566% increase from where the user base is today. Just take one look at this chart, and you'll see what's happening here. Does this growth pattern look familiar to you? It is exactly what happened when the internet hit the sudden phase in the 90s. We, folks, are literally standing at the foot of a mountain. There is nowhere to go but up. And I believe there is one company that will ride this growth to the very top, but you cannot sit on your hands. The smart money is already in position. Vanguard, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, BlackRock, Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs, they're all shifting billions into this space. They know we haven't seen a megatrend like this since the PCs and the internet hit the sudden phase decades ago. Genetic coding technologies are the future. And the future is here, right now. GCT is already having incredible, life-changing impacts on the world. Just consider. There are more than 475 million people that have been diagnosed with rare diseases. An estimated 80% of them are caused by DNA. But all of that is about to change for the first time in human history because cheap DNA sequencing is now making it possible to create treatments for them. Jacob Korn, director of the Innovative Genomic Initiative, says, "We can now find that bit of DNA that leads to disease, cut it out, and replace it with the right sequence." And it's already happening. One 34-year-old mother from Mississippi received DNA therapy for sickle cell disease in 2019. 1 year later, the National Public Radio wrote, "She just received good news. The billions of genetically modified cells doctors infuse in her body clearly appear to be alleviating virtually all the complications of her disorder." And folks, that's why I'm saying things are moving fast. One Nobel Prize winning scientist even said, "We may be nearing the beginning of the end of genetic diseases." Now, this could save the lives of millions of people across the globe. God forbid if one of your loved ones inherits a genetic disorder, it could save their life as well. And we're already seeing huge breakthroughs in blood disorders, genetic blindness, viral infections, and Alzheimer's. Thanks to DNA sequencing, we can now scan a person's blood sample to detect cancer before it even shows up. One study estimated that these scans could save up to 66,000 lives per year in the US alone. And this is why I'm saying genetic coding technologies will disrupt healthcare like we've never seen before. And my number one pick will play a major role in this trend. But healthcare is only the beginning, because GCT is not just applicable to people. These technologies can be used for all biological systems, which brings us to the next major impact. The Center for Disease Control estimates that 48 million Americans get sick from foodborne illnesses every single year. Of those people, 128,000 are hospitalized and more than 3,000 people die. This is a huge public health concern. But now that DNA sequencing is available cheaper than ever before, it is transforming how we prevent the spread of disease in the food supply chain. Eric Brown, director of microbiology at the Center for Food Safety, says, "Thanks to DNA sequencing, we are now tracking the food supply to detect outbreaks and stop them before they become a public health crisis." This means if you eat contaminated food and go to the doctor, they can identify the cause faster than ever before and give you highly accurate treatments. And these DNA sequencing programs can put money back into the pockets of American taxpayers too. The Food and Drug Administration reports that in the US, the net savings are estimated to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars annually. And this is just a taste of what's coming as DNA sequencing hits the sudden phase. The McKinsey Global Institute reports that as much as 60% of the physical resources in the global economy could be produced biologically. Now, this means we can produce natural materials, plastics, and fuels without extracting them, but by simply recreating them from engineered biology. Take nylon, for example. This plastic is found in everything, electronics, fabrics, even cars, and we've always produced it from petrochemicals and crude oil. But that is all about to change for the first time, because we can now engineer these plastics through a process called DNA synthesis, where we produce it 100% biologically. No crude oil needed whatsoever. As much as 8 to 10% of our global oil supply goes to making plastics. Tapping into just a fraction of that is completely transformative. You know, nylon alone represents a $10 billion market. That's why the world's smartest investors are moving in. Billionaires Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Peter Thiel, Richard Branson, and John Doerr have already backed companies pioneering this DNA megatrend. Folks who get in today, right as we hit the sudden phase, could see the biggest gains. And my number one GCT company is playing a huge role in these massive disruptions. Now look, I've recommended stocks that have gone up 10 times, 20 times, and even 30 times in just the past few years. This is why I was named the number one stock picker in the world in 2020 by TipRanks. And today, I'm the lead technology analyst at one of America's most trusted financial think tanks. As you've seen, we have a remarkable track record for calling the most explosive companies right when the sudden phase hits. Microsoft at 38 cents, Netflix at $1.38, Amazon at $19. But the secret to our success is very simple. Because our biggest calls have one thing in common. They're all software companies. You see, investing in software is the fastest way to potentially build incredible wealth as technologies hit the sudden phase. Just think about it. When the internet hit the sudden phase in the 1990s, it was software businesses that became the biggest stock market winners. Microsoft shares have gone as high as 342,000%, turning every $10,000 invested into $33 million. Oracle shares are up more than 145,000%. The software company behind the PDF, Adobe Systems, has seen 312,000% gains. Same with monster hit businesses, Amazon, Uber, eBay, and more. These are all software businesses. And we believe DNA is where the next software empires will be created. Because DNA can be read, edited, and programmed just like computer code. But instead of creating a software app you use on a device, DNA is programmed to create new treatments and engineer biomaterials in a whole new way. And my research has led me to what could be the software giant of the DNA era. The company is headed by an MIT scientist who helped build ARPANET, the technology that laid the foundation for the internet. In 2009, after witnessing the huge potential in DNA and the falling cost of sequencing, he started this incredible company. It specializes in programming the DNA of microorganisms and then licensing out those programs to companies who use them to make physical materials, consumer products, and more. That's why experts are saying this company could be the next Microsoft. The most exciting part? Bill Gates has already publicly backed and invested his own money in this very company. Cathie Wood, the manager of the $60 billion ARK investment funds, is also on board. Bank of America, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and Wells Fargo have all piled in as well. And the company has major partnerships with Quest Diagnostics, Kronos Group, Bayer, and more. So, if you missed out on Microsoft when the internet hit the sudden phase decades ago, this could be your second chance. Because DNA sequencing is hitting the sudden phase right now, and it's set to unleash a massive $80 trillion megatrend. If my number one pick only taps into a fraction of this huge trend, it could make Microsoft's stock growth look like an anthill. And it won't take decades to see the potential returns either, because experts project up to 2 billion people will have their DNA sequenced by 2025. That's a 6,566% growth rate in just 4 years. Simply put, folks, I believe this pick is one of the best recommendations of my career. As someone who's beaten out 15,000 financial experts to become the number one stock picker in 2020, I like to think that's good reason to pay attention. Now, I put all the details of my number one pick in a special briefing called The Next Microsoft, the software company powering the $80 trillion DNA revolution. Inside this report, you'll have everything you need to know about this company. The ticker symbol, my in-depth analysis, and my target buy price, so you can get into position immediately. In fact, I urge you to act on it before the markets close today, because I just learned that President Biden has announced a $1.7 billion investment to build the country's infrastructure for future DNA sequencing needs. This includes building 6 centers of excellence in genomics across the U.S. So, if you can afford to be more aggressive in the markets, now is the time to do it. As you've seen, once the sudden phase takes off, the lion's share of gains come fast and furious, and those who sit on their hands are left out. Now, my exclusive report will tell you all the details on my number one pick to play this fast-moving trend. I'll show you how you can get your hands on it in just a moment. Now, first, I want to tell you about another game-changing opportunity flying under most people's radar right now. You remember this DNA sequencer I showed you earlier? Well, there's a good reason why I chose this particular one for today's presentation. Because this piece of tech is on the bleeding edge of the newest sequencing breakthrough. It's called a third-generation sequencer. You see, since scientists completed the first human genome in 2003, DNA sequencing technology has continued to evolve. The first generation sequencers were incredibly expensive and were nearly the size of a fax machine. Then we had the second generation. They were smaller, faster, cheaper, more accurate. And today, what you're seeing right here is the third generation. Now, this represents a quantum leap from the technology we used just a few short years ago. But the best part is, the company has patented its technology so none of their competitors can steal it. Now, this method allows them to read longer sequences of DNA at incredible speed. In fact, it can cut sequencing time from a full day to just a few hours or even minutes. Plus, this sequencer is the first one that can be used outside of a laboratory. It has already been used to sequence DNA on the International Space Station. Now, simply put, this is the sequencer of the future. And as this technology hits the sudden phase and reaches 2 billion people over the next 4 years, I believe this company will dominate the industry. Now, I've gathered all of my research in a special report titled The Next DNA Sequencing Giant. Inside, I reveal the name of this company, its ticker symbol, and why I believe its unique patented technology puts it years ahead of the competition. If you want to invest in one DNA sequencing company as we blast through the sudden phase, this is the one. Armed with these two exclusive reports, you will have an unfair advantage as DNA sequencing skyrockets 6,566% in the next 4 years. Now, keep in mind, this is the caliber of research Wall Street firms pay thousands of dollars for. But I don't want you to pay a single cent. Instead, I want to put these two exclusive reports in your hands today for free as part of a low-priced trial offer to my premier research service called Innovation Investor. Now, you may have subscribed to investment newsletters in the past, but Innovation Investor is unlike anything you've ever tried before. I personally guarantee it. You see, I only have one goal with this service: to show you how to get into the biggest tech investment opportunities ahead of the masses. And as a subscriber, you'll have a front row seat to all of the technological breakthroughs reshaping our world. And you'll have the chance to be there first. Whenever I come across a unique opportunity, I'll tell you when to buy. I'll tell you when to sell. And I'll give you all of my analysis behind each recommendation. There is no guesswork whatsoever. I hope you come to see me as your personal technology insider, a friend who knows what's happening in Silicon Valley, the Manhattan financial world, and what's not being reported in the media. I'll share secrets, insights, and ideas you won't hear anywhere else. But don't take my word for it. Here's what others are saying about my work.
I am really impressed by Luke. In my humble opinion, it's his brain and how it has been refined by the best technical minds in the world to evaluate the merits of any technology platform that makes him stand apart from all the other advisors out there.
I just wanted to reach out and say thank you, and that this has been the exact type of service that I was looking for. I've subscribed to other services in the past that only recommended stocks that were huge already. I look forward to continuing following Mr. Lango's recommended stocks.
I enjoy your to-the-point emails and updates. We've invested in a few of your suggestions, and those seem to be already doing well, and we believe we'll do well in the long run. Thank you for sharing your insight and tech-savvy wisdom with us. Appreciate you.
I love hearing my subscribers are knocking out of the park, and I want you to be my next success story. That's why I've included my best picks for the DNA revolution inside these two reports for you. I'm 100% confident these will be my biggest stock picks this year. I'm staking my career on it. And I've worked out a special offer so you can get started immediately. You see, normally a 1-year subscription to Innovation Investor costs $199. But because we are in a truly unprecedented situation today, and because DNA sequencing will only hit the sudden phase once, I really don't want you to miss out on the biggest possible gains. And that's why I prepared a special discount just for you today. I'll tell you exactly how to take advantage of this incredible offer in a moment, but first, I'd like to make this deal even sweeter by adding another special gift. As part of this package, I'm also including a special report on the bleeding edge of artificial intelligence. Now, most folks shrug their shoulders when I tell them how big AI will become. Sadly, this may be the single most expensive mistake on the planet right now, because AI isn't just world-changing. It represents a complete paradigm shift in society. And it is having an enormous impact specifically on DNA technologies. You see, DNA information is incredibly dense and difficult to process. But thanks to AI, computers can now analyze these complex patterns, cross-reference data, and perform hyper-complex calculations at instant speed. AI can detect cancer with better accuracy than a doctor can. It can create life-saving new drugs faster than humans. It can streamline and lower the cost of manufacturing. And that's what most people don't get. AI is not about robots taking over. It's about incredibly powerful software running on incredibly powerful computers. Over the next 10 years, I believe AI will be the ultimate tool, the ultimate advantage. Now, billionaire Mark Cuban said that the world's first trillionaire will be the one who wins the AI race, and I think he's absolutely right. These opportunities are on the launching pad as we speak. They have incredible potential. These opportunities are so incredible that I had to create a separate report dedicated to my 3 favorite startup firms at the forefront of the AI revolution. It's called 3 World-Changing AI Stocks to Buy Now. And it's yours for free when you take me up on this offer today. Okay, we've covered a lot so far. So as a quick recap, here's everything you'll receive today. My exclusive report, the next Microsoft, the software company powering the $80 trillion DNA revolution. Inside, you'll find all the details on the software business that will dominate as DNA sequencing technologies hit the mainstream in the months to come. Bonus report number 1, the next DNA sequencing giant. Now, I'm convinced that this company's patented technology will revolutionize the industry and put you in front of my number 1 pure play for the $80 trillion megatrend happening right now. And bonus report number 2, 3 world-changing AI stocks to buy now. Now, these reports are all included with a 12-month risk-free trial subscription to Innovation Investor. Every month, I'll send you a brand new issue detailing how to get into the biggest, most transformative technology investment opportunities so you can be there first. And as a new subscriber to Innovation Investor, you will also receive my daily notes. Now, this is my daily breakdown of stock market action and updates to our model portfolio. I pack these daily notes with real insights, no BS. And to my knowledge, there is not another newsletter research service that delivers daily value like we do. You'll also get access to the Innovation Investor support team. As a new member, you'll receive complete access to my team, who can be reached by phone or email between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. If you have any questions about your membership benefits, we're here to help you. You're also going to get access to our model portfolio. This is where you can track all of the current open positions. And you're going to get 24/7 access to our members-only website portal. Inside, you will find all of our past issues, a full library of special reports, exclusive interviews with industry experts, and so much more. Like I said, a 1-year membership is normally $199, but today, you won't have to pay anything near that amount, because I've worked out a special discount just for you. Now, I'm offering such a low price because I believe that once you get inside Innovation Investor and see everything we have to offer, you will love it so much and get such incredible value out of it that you'll want to stick around for years to come. So click the button below now to claim this special discount and get started right away. Now, I understand there are many people out there who find it difficult to spend money on any type of financial research because they think they can find everything online for free. And for those folks, here's what I propose. I plan on giving you the chance to make a lot of money over the next 12 months. And because I'm so confident in the quality of my research, I'm willing to give you the strongest performance promise I can think of. Here's the deal. If you don't see at least 5 opportunities to double your money over the next year with the stock recommendations in our model portfolio, I don't want you to pay a single penny for my research. That's right. Have a look at everything mentioned here, 100% risk-free for the next 365 days. And if you don't see at a minimum 5 opportunities with 100% gains in my Innovation Investor Model portfolio, if you don't think it's the single most valuable financial resource you've ever had access to, I'll refund every penny of your membership. That's how confident I am in my work. And in the DNA revolution set to be unleashed across the world on a massive scale. And remember, you'll have a full 12 months to review my work completely risk-free. Where else in the world could you try something for a full year and get a full refund if you don't like it? Plus, you can keep all the special reports you receive today if you cancel your membership. Just think of it as my way of saying, hey, thank you for giving us a try. That's why I've removed virtually all the risk from your decision to join us today. Go ahead and click the button below now to get started right away. You'll be taken to a secure enrollment form where you can review everything I've mentioned here. Remember, you have a full 12 months to keep me to my word. So what do you say? Because the way I see it, you only have 2 options. Option number 1, you can forget you ever watched this presentation and continue to watch as everyday folks learn about the incredible technology disruption happening right now and get rich ahead of you. Or option number 2, you can click the Get Started button below. Learn about these opportunities before anyone else and get immediately tapped in. Since you're still here with me, I think you're the kind of person I'm looking for. But you have to decide now. Not tomorrow, not even later tonight, right now. And to help you make the right decision, I'm going to include one more valuable gift. And I believe it could show you how to make a lot of money in the months to come. Go ahead and check out the full details on the next page. Once you click the Get Started button, it will take you to a secure order form where you can review everything before submitting your order. I hope you take advantage of this opportunity, because I honestly believe it's going to change the lives of forward-thinking Americans. And I hope you're one of them. Thank you for watching today. I'm Luke Lango.